Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Happy New Year guys! And sorry that I've been away for a little bit because it was Christmas, it was New Year, then it was my birthday. So I've been away for a little while, but I haven't forgotten to design new patterns that I can share with you. In this video today, you will be able to learn how to create these cute little sheep that you can use as a little charm that you can hang off your bag as a decoration, or you can make it into a keychain if you make it into a smaller size, and you can also make it into a bigger plushie if you like. This pattern is very simple and require very little sewing. As you can see, everything is all in one piece. So if you're ready, then grab your tools, sit back, relax, and crochet with me. For today's project, you'll need some yarns. You can choose different colors that you like, and play around with different color combinations. The size of the yarn that I'll be using for this demonstration is the 2mm thickness yarn with 3 plies. Depending on also what size of yarn that you use, just make sure that you use the right size hook. For this project, I will be using the 2.5mm crochet hook. And you also need some stitch markers, a yarn needle, and keychain ring, but this is optional. If you don't want to make it in a keychain, then you can skip this and you don't need to get this. But I will show you how to create that little loop where you can actually loop this through to make it into a keychain. And you also need a pair of sharp scissors to cut the yarn. You will also need some cotton for stuffing, as well as some dark color yarn for the face of the sheep. So if you're ready, grab your yarn, grab your hook, let us get started. To start with this project, we are first going to make 2 arms for the little sheep. So we start with a magic ring with 6 single crochets in this magic ring. So that's 1, 2, and once you do 6 single crochets, then you can close the magic ring. And then I will be doing the slip stitch method for each round. So to do that, just remember to join back to the first stitch of each round and you do a slip stitch. After you do the slip stitch, just pull your yarn tight. So then the slip stitch doesn't show and then make you confused. And then after you do that, then that is the end of the first round. For round 2, we are going to do 6 increases. So for each round, when you do the slip stitch join method, remember for single crochet, you do 1 chain first before you start with your round. So after you've chained 1, then you do increase into the same stitch of the first stitch that you do the slip stitch join. So if you get confused, just mark the first stitch. But to make sure that you get familiar with the slip stitch method, after we do the slip stitch, can you see clearly? After we do the slip stitch, which is this very tiny stitch here, then we chain 1, so this one doesn't count. Okay, then the next one is your first stitch. But if you use the marker, then after you make the first stitch, then just mark it so you don't get confused. Okay, so that is the first increase, and let's do another increase. And then you will just do increases for the rest of the round. For round 3 to round 5, you are going to do 12 single crochets for each round. So remember, after each round, after you do the slip stitch join, remember to chain 1 to start, and then you go back into the same stitch for the first stitch of this round. So you will just do single crochets from round 3 to round 5. For round 6, you are going to do 1 single crochet and 1 decrease, and repeat that for 4 times. So chain 1 to start, and you do a single crochet and then a decrease. And then another one. It's a single crochet and then a decrease. Okay, sorry. Decrease. And then you just repeat that for the rest of the round. It does get a little bit tricky, but just pinch your work, and then you do single crochet and then a decrease. And then the last 2 stitches, just do a single crochet and then a decrease. And that's the end of round 6. Then just join back to the first stitch, do a slip stitch join, pull tight and leave a little piece. You don't need to leave too long, then you can cut. So that is one of the tiny arm of the sheep done. And this little string here from the inside, that is from the magic ring, then you can pull tight just to close that hole and pull it tighter if you like. And then what you can do is just hide this yarn inside, the yarn of the magic ring inside. And that is one tiny arm done. So you would make 2 of these. Then you can put them aside once you are done with it. So now we're going to make the little ear for the sheep. Then just do 6 chains. So first do a slip knot, and then you do 6 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And starting with the second chain, we are going to do on the top loop a single crochet, and then you just do single crochets across. And then in the last loop, you will do 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, and you will notice that your work will start to turn. Just go with the flow. That's 3. And then on the other side, you'll also do single crochets across. So remember this little, okay, this loop we've already used it. So go into the next one and do a single crochet. And you can also just hide this tiny piece of the yarn while you crochet. And then in the last chain, this loop here, well, technically it's the first loop, then you do 2 single crochets into this loop. So that's 1 and another one. And then you join back to the first stitch. Do a slip stitch join, and that is it. Then leave I would say about this size, because we're going to stitch this into the sheep later. And again, you will also make 2 of these. These are the little ears. You'll also make 2 of these, and then you can keep them aside for later. Now let's make the little legs for our little sheep. So to start with the leg, you will do a magic ring with 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 4 round 2, we are going to do 5 increases. So chain 1 to start, and then you will do increases for all the stitches. For round 3, you will do 1 single crochet and 1 increase as a set, and repeat that for 5 times. So chain 1 to start and do your first stitch and then an increase, and that is 1 set, and you repeat that for the rest of the round. Then from round 4 to round 7, you will just do 15 single crochets for each round. Chain 1 to start, and then you will just continue with single crochets. So once you're done with the first leg, after you do the slip stitch join, just pull the yarn a little bit out, and then you can cut. But for the second leg, just don't cut it, leave it on your hook, because we are going to join the 2 legs together from the second leg. And also just pull tight the magic ring. You can cut this if you want, or you can just shove it in here. And then so just remember, after you make the second leg, just leave the yarn on your hook. After you're done with round 7 of the second leg, join back to the first stitch, do a slip stitch join, and then leave the yarn on your hook, then take out your other leg. Then we are going to join these 2 legs together. So what you do is you hook it through the first stitch of this other leg, and then here you kind of have to make your yarn tight, and then you do a slip stitch into the first leg. Okay, and then you chain 1. Then we're going to start joining the leg, but because of this pattern, we are going to crochet the wool of the sheep onto the body. So we are going to do all of the rounds on the body into the back loop only. So after you've done the first chain, then we are going to do back loop. Okay, so do it single crochets into the back loop of each round. So for this round of the leg joining, you will do 30 single crochets around into the back loop. And when you're at the back, now we're going to join back to the other leg. So we are going to join back to the first stitch here into the back loop. So also hide the yarn and just do a single crochet, back loop only. And that's the last stitch. Then you just join back to the first stitch of this round. And then you do a slip stitch join, and that is how you join the legs together, nice and neat. Okay, for joining of the leg, I did explain it in my previous video of the Santa Claus. It's the same method, but I'll explain it to you again if you didn't watch that video. So what we do is, after we, okay, this is leg 1 and this is leg 2. So leg 2 is where we left the yarn on our hook. We didn't cut, so this one is cut, yeah. And so to start, this would basically be your last stitch of leg 2. And what we do is we first do a slip stitch join into the first stitch of this other leg, right? And so that will start with first count. So then you count all the way around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then here, what we do is from 15th, you actually do a single crochet into this last stitch here. So this will become your 16th stitch. And then you continue with single crochets, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that will be 30 single crochets from here all the way around to here. And then what you do here is from the 30th, this becomes the last stitch. Then you join back to the first stitch and do a slip stitch join. Then that is a complete round for the leg joining round. Normally I don't count this round as the body, so this is just joining of the legs. Now we're going to, after you join the leg, now we're going to start with the body. And so to continue with that, let us do this. So after you've joined the leg, and remember we're going to do all the stitches into the back loop only. So after you join that, we again start with a first chain, and then we do all of these rounds in back loops. So for round 1 of the body, we are going to do 30 single crochets. So even after you've joined the 2 loops, you still start your first stitch into the back loop. Okay, and then let us get started. So we will do 30 single crochets all the way around. After you've done the 30 single crochets, then join back to the first stitch and you do a slip stitch join, and that's the end of the first round of the body. If you're unsure, then you can also just put a marker And then you can just put a marker here, so then you know where the first round of the body start. Then let's continue with round 2 of the body. For round 2 of the body, we are going to do 4 single crochet and 1 increase as a set, and you repeat that for 6 times. So chain 1 to start, and remember the first stitch where you do the slip stitch join, that would be your first stitch. So we will do 4 single crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do an increase. And remember, all of this are going to be in the back loop. So that is 1 set, and you just continue for the rest of the round. Round 3 of the body, you are going to do 36 single crochets in the back loop only. So after you chain 1, then you just continue with single crochets. For round 4 of the body, you are going to do 5 single crochets and 1 increase as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. So chain 1 to start, and then into the back loop. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then an increase. So that's 1 set, and you'll just repeat that for the rest of the round. And then for round 5, you will just do 42 single crochets into the back loop of the round. And then for round 6, you will do 6 single crochets and 1 increase as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. So chain 1 to start, remember in the back loop. So first do 6 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then an increase. And that is 1 set, and you'll repeat that for the rest of the round. For round 8, you will do 6 single crochets and 1 decrease as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. So chain 1 to start, and then you will do 6 single crochets first. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. To do the back loop decrease, what you do is you first insert your hook into the back loop, and then hook the yarn through, leave it on your hook, and then go into the next back loop, hook the yarn through, and then pull your yarn through all 3 loops. That is a back loop decrease. And then you just continue with the next set. So after 6 single crochet, then you do a decrease. So remember, you go into the back loop, hook the yarn through, leave the yarn on your hook, then go into the next back loop, hook the yarn through that loop, and then you hook your yarn through all 3 loops. And then you just repeat that for the rest of the round. For round 9, you will do 5 single crochet and 1 decrease as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. So chain 1 to start, and also again in the back loop. So that's first stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you do a decrease, and remember, decrease into the first loop, hook your yarn through, leave it on the hook, and then into the next loop, hook the yarn through that loop. Then you have 3 hoops, and then hook the yarn through all 3 of them, and then you repeat that for the rest of the round. After you finish with round 9, we're going to start with round 10. As you can see, it is a little bit skewed because of the increases of the round, but after you do the decrease, it should be more or less in the center. And so for the arms, we are going to attach it onto the side of the body. Usually, if your work is not too skewed, then it should be 8. Let's count this. So it should be 8 stitches for attaching the first arm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After you do 8 stitches, then on the 9th stitch is where we are going to join the first arm. And we're going to use 2 of them. And then we count another. So, okay, 1, 2, that's where we're going to join the arms. So from the next one, we count 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And after you do 16 single crochets, then we are going to join the arms here. Okay, and if your work is very skewed, then I would recommend that you pinch your work, and then the ones on the side is where you are going to join the arms to. So what you do is, after you pinch it, you can just slightly adjust it. After you pinch it and then you see which 2 stitches are on the side, then that's where you place the marker, is where you know you need to join the arms. So let's continue. So what we do is we are going to do single crochet across until we reach the marker, and that's where we're going to join the arms. Chain 1 to start with the round, and let's first do the single crochets across. So that's 8 single crochets, and now we've reached the marker. So take out your marker and grab one of the arm. So for the arm joining, I've also demonstrated in my center video. If you have watched it, then you will know how to do it. But if not, this is how you do it. So take out one of the arm and find the first stitch. So from the inside of the arm, insert your hook out like that. And then you go into this next stitch here, like this. Then you hook the yarn through. And then just do a single crochet. And that is how you join the arms in. So that would be the first stitch on the arm. So there should be 8 across because the round of the arm is 8 stitches. So that's 1, and then you do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we've reached the last stitch on the arm. And again, pull your yarn, your hook from the inside and poke it through to the outside. And then you go into the next stitch on the body, insert your hook through, and then pull the yarn through, and then do a single crochet. That is how you can join the arm. If you have any other method, you're also more than welcome to use it. This is how I do it. And now let's do 16 single crochet across until we reach the next marker, and then we join the next arm. So 1, 2, 3. So after you've done 16 single crochets all across into the back loop, then we reach the next marker. Then take out the other arm and we do the same joining method. So from the inside, insert your hook out, and then you go into the next stitch like this. Then pull the yarn through and single crochet, and then you do single crochet across the arm. The last stitch of the arm, then what you do is from the inside to the outside, and then you go into the next stitch on the body, and then you pull the yarn through, just wiggle it out. Oh my goodness. There we go. And then do a single crochet. And then you finish the rest of the round with single crochets in the back loop. So remember, this is already attached. We don't use that one. So we continue with the next stitch. So you should have only 8 stitches left. So you will do 8 single crochets to finish this round. And then that is the end of round 10. Then join back to the first stitch of the round, do a slip stitch join, and that's the end of round 10. and then the little arms are nicely attached to the body. Then you don't have to worry about that anymore. And now let's continue with round 11. For round 11, we are going to do 6 single crochets and 1 decrease as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. Also in the back loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you just do a decrease. And then you continue onto the arms. It might be tricky here on the arms because it's very small, but you just have to stick your hook into it. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a decrease. And that you repeat that for the rest of the round. For round 12, you'll be doing 5 single crochets and 1 decrease as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. And remember, again, we are doing it all in the back loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a decrease. And then you'll just repeat that for the rest of the round. And here by the arm, it might also be a little bit tricky, but you just need to make sure that you don't miss out on any of these stitches here. So 1, 'and then for round 13 of the body, we are going to just do 36 single crochets in the back loop. So after round 13, we are done with the body. For the head, you can continue counting as round 14 upwards, but I like to keep them separate. So after we do the first round of the head, I will also place a marker there just to, make sure that we don't get confused. So for the round 1 of the head, we are going to do 5 single crochets and 1 increase as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. Chain 1 to start, and we're also going to do that in the back loop only. Then let's start with the 5 single crochets first. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then an increase. And then you'll just repeat that for the rest of the round. And after you finish with round 1 of the body, you can remove the marker from the body, and then you can just place the marker here. So then you know that is round 1. That is the round 1 of the head. For round 2 of the head, we are going to do 14 single crochets in the back loop only, and then 14 increases in both loops, and then 14 single crochets in the back loop again. So what you can also do is count your stitches. So 14, this will be in the back loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So because I want to make the face bulge out a little bit, so from here on we are going to do 14 increases across. So from the marker 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is where the 14 increases are going to be. And that is where the face of the sheep is going to be. And then for the rest 14 stitches, you are going to do 14 single crochets in the back loop. So the hair would basically be around the leg here, all the way around the arm, and then except for the face. So we're going to leave some space here for the face, and then we're going to also do the hair around the face. Then let us continue. So we're going to do 14 single crochet in the back loop first. Remember, after you do your slip stitch, the first stitch is here in the back loop. So that's 1, 2. After you've done the 14 single crochet in the back loop, now we are going to do increases in both loops. So just do increases like how you do normal single crochets. So that's 1 increase and 2 increases, and then you just continue with increases till the last marker, and also remember to do the increase into the last marker here. And then after you've done the increase, then you just do 14 single crochet in the back loop to finish this round. And that's the end of round 2 for the face. From round 3 to round 7, you are just going to do 14 single crochets in the back loop, and then 28 single crochet in both loops, normal loops, and then 14 single crochets in the back loop only. And then you will just continue from round 3 till round 7. So first do 14 single crochet in the back loop. And after you do the 14th back loop, and then just do normal single crochets. And then so what you do is you do 28 normal single crochets in both loop until you reach here, then you do back loop for 14 single crochet for the rest of the round. And then so basically from round 3 to round 7 is exactly the same. And then you just continue. After you've done 28 single crochets, then you do 14 more single crochet in the back loop. Another tip here because of the back loop, you might also notice that sometimes it might become skew. If it is skew or not too much, I wouldn't say, well, if it's too off center, then you kind of have to check where you want the face to be. So it should be more or less in the middle between the body, like here. So if your stitch or your crochet work is a little bit skew, then you just use the marker to mark out where you want the face to start and end, and then just do increases in those stitches, and then for the rest you just do back loop stitches. Then you just continue with that until you reach or until you finish round 7. And so I will see you when you finish with round 7. Once you're done with round 7 for the head, we are going to do round 8. Now we're going to start decreasing. So for round 8, you're going to do 14 single crochets in the back loop, and then 14 decreases, and then 14 single crochets in the back loop again. So let us get started. Chain 1 to start, and then you first do 14 single crochets in the back loop. And then we are going to start decreasing. Also, we are going to do that in the back loop. So we are going to do 14 decreases in the back loop. That is 1, 2, 'Once you're done with 14 decreases, then you will continue with 14 single crochets in the back loop to finish this round. And then for round 9 for the head, you are going to do 5 single crochets and 1 decrease as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. Chain 1 to start, and also in the back loop. So that's 5 single crochets and then 1 decrease. So that's 1 set, and you repeat that for the rest of the round. Round 10 of the head, you are going to do 4 single crochet and 1 decrease as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. Again, we are doing this all in the back loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 decrease. And you'll just repeat that for the rest of the round. For round 11 of the head, you are going to do 3 single crochets and 1 decrease as a set, and repeat that for 6 times. And also do that in the back loop. So 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. So that's 1 set, and you repeat that for the rest of the round. After you've done round 11, here is where it gets a little bit more interesting, because now we are going to start crochet in the yarn onto the body. It would be easier if it is flat, if it's not stuffed, because then it's easier for you to actually get your crochet hook into the front loop of the rounds that we've left open. But you also don't want to leave your yarn attached, so it's always in the way. So what we can actually do is that we can actually do the last round and then loosen the yarn or pull the yarn open, so then you know how much yarn you should leave for the last round. So let's do the last round first. And so the last round we are going to do 12 decreases. So after you chain 1, then you do 12 decreases again in the the back loop, sorry. So that is 1, 2, so after you've done the last round, don't close it yet. So what you can do is leave just a longer piece and then you can cut. So that is what we're going to use to close the loop, but don't close it yet. What we're going to do is actually we're going to pull it open, so it's easier for you to stuff the cotton in after we've done a few rounds of wools, well, the hair of the sheep, until this part, because it will be easier for you to actually leave it flat for now. So after we finish crocheting the wool of the sheep until the head, then we can actually start stuffing it. And then we will do the head and then stuff it a little bit more, and then we close the top. But by doing this, you know how long of the yarn that you should have to be able to finish it without, you know, leaving it too much, so then you kind of waste the yarn. So what you can do here is just shove it into the body for now, so it is out of your way when you do the crocheting of the hair on the sheep. Okay, so now we are going to start with the wool of the sheep. To crochet in the wool of the sheep, you first turn your work to the back, and then at the bottom you find the first open front loop, and then you take out the other color yarn, and then you just hook the yarn through, and you see why it is easier to do this part without stuffing the body first. And so you just pinch the leg. After you hook the other color through, then you just do a chain, and then you do a single crochet into the same loop. You can also pull this tight. So this part is a little bit tiring, well, because it's very time consuming, because you're just going to repeat the same thing over and over. So after you make the first single crochet, then you immediately chain 3 times, and then you go into the next loop, and then you do a single crochet, and then chain 3 times, and then into the next loop, and you do a single crochet. So you will just continue with this for the whole body. So after you've done the one leg, you will see that there is a little loop here. Then you also do single crochet and chain 3 times, And now you go into now you should be on the front side of the other leg. And then you just continue with this. Okay. After you're done with the leg and you loop around to the back. Here there's a little gap here in the middle which I don't like. So what I do is I actually go into the middle loop between the leg again, and then just do a, oh my goodness, hang on. It is very tricky to get to this. So you do a single crochet just to close that part a little bit, and then chain 3 times, and then you continue until the next round. So you just continue with the next round. So go into the next round again. And then you just continue doing the same pattern on repeat. But after you finish with the leg, it should be easier. For the wool of the sheep, this is basically what you are going to do for the whole body. So what you do is you repeat this pattern all the way around, and then after you reach the end, then you go up the second round, and then you go again, and then up and up. And then when you reach here, you will see under the arm there's no loops that's open. So what you do here is after you finish with this stitch, and then you chain 3 times, then you go immediately into this stitch here. So wherever you see front loops, sorry, then you go into this stitch here. Okay, and then I will see you when we reach the face, because the face, it can get a little bit confusing, but I will see you when we reach the face. Now we finished with the body and we are reaching the face or the head area. So what you do is you crochet, because we start from the back, and with the slip stitch you can actually clearly see where the first stitch starts. So you crochet halfway through to the face, and when you reach the front where there are no front loop that you can crochet the wool in. So what you do here is once you finish with the last stitch of the first row of the face, then you go up to the next row. Can you see? Yeah, then you go up. To the next row. And then turn your work around. And also this is why we don't stuff the piece before we finish with all of this wool, crochet in the wool of the sheep, because it would be easier if the work is flat, then you can bend it and twist it, and it's much easier like that. And then you will just repeat the same stitching . Once you're done with this round. This is where it can get a little bit confusing, and you have to really bend your work to actually see the stitches, to get into the stitches, because we've done halfway to the front and then we move to the next one and then we're going back this side. So here you will see here it doesn't have any crochets in. So what you do is when you crochet across, go up, do a crochet across, go down, crochet across, go down, crochet across, go down, crochet across, go up, crochet across, down, and like so on and so forth. And once you've reached this area, then it will immediately become normal stitching. Then you can just crochet across the top of the face. Okay, and so you can just continue until you finish with the head. Once you are finished with the head and also the top row of the face, we have only a few rows left for the wool, but we can start stuffing the little sheep. Just make sure that you also get some cotton into the arm. You can push the cotton in with the back of your crochet hook, or you get something thin enough to go into the arm. So then you can actually stuff the cottons in properly. Then let us get started. Once you have completed with stuffing, and just make sure that you actually stuff enough so then the face area actually pushes outwards, so that it doesn't look flat and sunken into the body. And make sure that you like the puffiness. If you don't like it so puffy, then you can also stuff less. I like it where the head looks nice and big. So now let's start closing the head first before we finish with the rest of the wool on the body. And so remember, we opened it up again after we did the last round previously. And so now let's do 12 decreases on the final round of the head. So you continue with the last round. That will be round 12 of the head. So that will be 12 decreases. And also just make sure that you press the cotton down so then you don't actually crochet in the cotton. So let's do the decrease. And once you've completed the last round, you can pull the yarn through after you do the slip stitch. Then just make sure that the cotton is nice and firm. If you want to add more, you can still before you close it. And now let's close this hole here on the top. So you take out your yarn needle, and then also you do it in the back loop. So you skip. So what you do is you skip one and you go into the next one. And you skip one and you go into the next one. Once you've done with that, then pull tight and you just hide the yarn, or just sew in a few more rounds just so the top doesn't look empty. but leave this yarn in because we are also going to create a little loop that we can use for the keychain later. Now we've closed the top of the head and we can continue crocheting the wool for the rest of the head. And so you just continue with the same crochet pattern until you reach the last round of the head. Now we're in the last stitch, so after you've chained 3 the last time, then you just leave some yarn loose, just so we can hide it, back inside the body. And then take out your yarn needle and just go into anywhere Once you've pulled through the yarn, then you can just cut it. Don't worry, it won't go anyway. Now we're basically finished with the sheep. As you can see, it is covered nicely in fluffy wool, and we can actually start doing the little loop that we can use to attach the keychain ring on. So this is what I do. If you have any other ways that's better, then don't be shy to use it. So I basically just hook in anywhere into the last round of the head. And then, okay, it's hard to see, but then you hook the yarn through. Okay, and then you just do a few chains. I would say 5 chains maybe, or 6. Depending on how long you want. And after you've done that, let's make one. After you've done that, then you can pull your yarn through and just go through the ring. And then you have this piece where you can use the yarn needle and then just basically sew into the last round of the head. You really need to squeeze and push the yarn through. And you just do a few more rounds. And that is how you can attach the little keychain ring onto the head. And then you can use it to hang it on your bag, or I wouldn't use this for a keychain because it's quite big, but if you make it in a smaller size, then you can use this method to hang it onto the things that you want. So we are done basically with the sheep. Now let's just quickly do the face and we are done with this piece. To make the face, you just use the dark color yarn, and then you just make sure that you make the eyes equally apart, and also make sure that it's equal stitching counting from the side. So then the eyes don't look, one too much on the side and one too much to the middle, or and then you just make sure that it's in more or less the middle or yeah, more or less in the middle. So I would like the eyes to be about here. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then what you do is from the back, then you poke through to that spot. And then you just pull the yarn through. Oh, and then on the third round, then you can actually move to the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here is where your other eyes should be. Then you just go through to the other side. And then you do the same thing. But now we also need to do the little nose and the little mouth. So for the little nose and the little mouth, you have to also check where more or less the middle is. So you count equally stitches. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the nose would be so the nose is 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And then you go to the bottom. So just make sure that it's equally distributed. And I want to make it into a little V shape. So what you do is in the middle, you poke it to the round below it. And then poke it out. And there is your little face for the sheep. And at the back, you can just tie a knot. And so there's the little face. You can also use your needle to just make sure that it looks nice. So it's not too tight. Now for the one last thing to finish off this piece, take out the little ear and then you just attach it onto the side. I would say like if you check the face, it's just a little bit up. So basically one row up. Well, no, actually it's on the same row. So just next to the face. So you just push open and then you just go through on the inside, pull the ears through. And then you do the same for the other side. Once you've attached everything and sewed on everything, then our little sheep is done. This is a very simple piece that you can make. It's just a little bit time consuming, but I would say it's a good practice. And you can also make it bigger or smaller if you like. You can also make it into different color combination that you like. This one is my favorite. It's just the black yarn doesn't show clearly on camera, and also it can be very hard to see off camera as well. But you can try out different color, and you can also use like a beige and off-white color if you like. This is also a very nice color combination. So try it out, try the pattern out, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Tell me if you like it, or if there's any adjustments that you can do to actually make the piece even better. Don't be shy to share your thoughts. I welcome any kind of suggestions and comments. If you enjoyed making this little sheep with me, don't be shy to give me a like, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you for watching. Have a great day or night wherever you are, and I wish you all the best for the new year. Yes, 2026, it's going to be a great year. Happy crocheting. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.